Hello again, it's Jess or JashiiCorrin, and welcome back for my video on spreads related to goals and goal setting. I'm not sure if you knew, but research says that around 1 week into the new year, 27% of people have given up on their New Year's resolutions. While come January 12th, this number has reached 31%. But this day has been labelled as Quitter's Day, as it's the time that most people have actually just quit. Only 50% of people make it to the end of January, and roughly 80% of people don't make it until the end of March. I'm really hoping that's not going to be you or me this year, because we obviously set these goals and resolutions for a reason. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys 5 different layouts that are related to goals and goal setting. Before we jump into it, just a reminder that any of the equipment I used to make these spreads is linked in the description box below. For today's colour palette, I'm going fairly simple, and just using these 3 colours. So we have 665, N60, and N15. A lot of the layouts that I have for you today have been inspired by various goal planners that I've seen, so there may be some elements that are fairly familiar. For our first spread, I felt I couldn't do this video without including the 20 before 2020 idea. X things before 20X is a goal setting style that's become quite popular over the past couple of years. I personally decided to use this goal setting style in October of last year to achieve some of the things for 2018 that I felt were really important. The idea behind this challenge, you could say, is that you set yourself 20 goals to complete before the end of 2019. For this layout, I have 20 boxes of varying shapes and sizes surrounding this central title. The circles in each of these goal boxes are used to house the goal number. And these could be used to check off your goals as you complete them, so just by colouring the circle in. If you wanted to create this spread as I've laid it out, here are the box sizes. Each of these values is base times height, so how many squares you have across versus how many squares you have up or down. The fun thing about this layout is that it gives you enough space to get really creative with how you lay out your goals for the year. The boxes are nice and big, so you can either try different styles of fonts or doodles that represent each of your goals, or if it was more your style, you could just write down a why or reasoning behind each of the goals, because it offers plenty of space for that too. Here I'm just drawing out an example of the way you could fill this spread in. I'd also like to note here that these aren't necessarily my goals, but what I did was look up most popular goals on Google, and these are some of the suggestions that came up. So as I mentioned, you can try a whole bunch of different styles of fonts and sizes, and include doodles to really make this page visually interesting and something you do want to turn back to. One of my biggest goals for 2019 is to make better content for you guys. So making videos that you find interesting or helpful for how you use your journals. This is of course why your feedback is so important to me, and I love it when you guys suggest videos that you want to see. As I've talked about previously, next weekend I'll be having the premiere of my February plan with me, and I hope you guys can all make it along. The weekend after that, I was planning on doing a video about spreads for high school students, as it's around the time that my students will be going back for term 1. I have a bunch of other ideas for things that I want to make videos about, but again, I really love it when you guys tell me what you want. Another one of my goals for this year is developing a better work-life balance. I felt there were a lot of times last year that I was just kind of surviving rather than living a life that I could be proud of. As part of this, I want to make sure that I'm using my time effectively at work so that I don't have to do as much in the evenings. I'm hoping that this will help with the first goal, as well as just making me a little bit more sane. If you are willing to share, I'd love to hear about some of you guys and your goals. Do you have the same goals that you set last year? Or do you have some new and exciting ones for 2019? Again, if you are willing to share these, I'd love to hear about them. Let me know in the comments below. You may have noticed in this one that sometimes I pause in the middle of a word, and that's because I'm usually looking the spelling up. So for instance, when I went to spell Fiji, I couldn't remember if it was a J or a G, because I always pronounce it Figgy. It's probably not a good practice because it got me really confused. So for the finished layout, we have drinking more water, saving money, eating more fruit and veg or just eating healthier in general, getting married, reading 20 books, learning how to speak Japanese, starting a blog, getting a tattoo, going on a road trip, losing weight, stopping swearing, getting a promotion, buying a house, growing out your fringe, graduating, taking more pictures with your friends, going on a trip, learning to love yourself, writing a song, and probably before that learning how to play the guitar. So for this next one we have two separate layouts. This one here is more of a goal action plan. So up the top we have a section to write out your goal with a nice large space so you can include detail if needed. And then under this we have a why section. And it's important to link your goals to specific reasons as to why you want to achieve them. In this section you could talk about the ways that achieving this goal would make you feel, how it would benefit you or other people to achieve this goal, how long you've been wanting to do this, or other things that really make this goal something that resonates with you. If you don't have any reasoning behind why you want to achieve a goal, it's a lot less likely that it's actually going to happen. Under this we have a due and reward section. Now these won't necessarily be relevant for every goal. For instance, sometimes the reward comes from achieving the goal itself. But for the due section in particular, this comes from the idea of setting SMART goals. And we'll get a little bit more into that on the next layout. The real meat of this spread, you could say, is in this action steps box, however. So this is where you write down each of the smaller tasks you need to do in order to achieve your goal. Breaking a larger goal down into smaller chunks can help you see the steps you need to take to make progress. And making progress is like goal achieving fuel. When you feel accomplished, you're more likely to get more accomplished. The last section on this one is a habits to build section. So this is where you'd write down any action steps that would be on a continuous basis. These habits could be anywhere between doing things daily to just a few times a year. But putting them down on paper gives you a better picture of how many things you can do to work on your goal. The example I'm giving you guys on this one actually is one of my goals for this year. With buying our first house and having a lot of unexpected purchases last year, my savings really did take a hit. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more stable in my finances in 2019. Although I'm not actually going to give myself a reward for meeting this goal, because I think that financial stability is reward enough, I'm writing one down just so you can see what this page would look like filled in. In terms of the action steps, the things I've got are set budget limits, open a new savings account, set up automatic payments, research money saving ideas, develop a secondary source of income, cancel any unnecessary subscriptions, and also limit my takeout, because that's one of the biggest things I spend my money on unnecessarily. The third layout we have here is more of a reference page about those SMART goals I was talking about before. Although the SMART system isn't for everyone, it is good to consider how your goals fit in with each of these 5 things. Making your goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based, or timely, or time-bound, really means that you're going to be more likely to be able to achieve this goal well. And when I say achieve this goal well, let's think about some examples. So let's say that your goal is to contact your family and friends more often, which in itself is a good goal to have. Connection is important. Where this goal falls down though is how specific it is, or rather isn't. Saying you want to do something more is a very loose goal. This could be improved by saying something like, contact my parents and friends weekly, which is a lot more specific and will help when it comes to the measurable aspect. Another example could be wanting to lose weight. So we can make this one more specific by setting a certain amount we want to lose, and that's easily measured if you have a set of scales. However, we want to make sure that we've carefully considered the achievable and time-bound aspects of that goal. Saying that you want to lose 10 kilograms in 1 week isn't really an achievable goal unless you're willing to do what's assumedly some pretty harsh things to your body. That time restriction is likely a little too low. However, you also don't want to make your time limit too far away, because then you're more likely to lose motivation actually to keep on top of it. It is recommended that you're realistic about the time limits you set on your goals to make sure that they still stay achievable. Up next we have a goal timeline or year-at-a-glance spread for goals, and there are multiple ways that you can use this one. The first way is using this yearly overview to place when you want to achieve each of your action steps. So likely keeping your goal foundation or research steps where they're necessary to the start of the year, and then the bigger actions from those preparation steps afterwards. Another way to use this one would be to outline milestones you want to achieve towards each of your goals. So going back to the idea of setting goals where the progress is measurable. For each of your goals, you would set out the checkpoints you want to meet or surpass for each month, to keep you on track for reaching your goal by the end of the year. A different way you could use this one would be more of a record of progress. So rather than setting milestones, at the end of each month you could record the big progress steps you made to achieve each of your goals. That way when you look back on this one, you'd see all of the positive things you did to reach your goals, and you wouldn't get so bogged down by the missed checkpoints. So in terms of that setting milestones one, if your goal was to save a certain amount of money, you could take that amount of money, divide it into 12, and give yourself a milestone for each month of the year that you needed to meet to get to that goal. A similar thing can be done with any big numeric goal. So things like losing a certain amount of weight, reading a certain amount of books, completing a certain amount of habits or tasks. If your goal was more about learning a skill, however, you could break that skill learning into multiple components and think about what a natural progression would be in terms of learning those. So for instance, if you were choosing to learn a musical instrument, you probably don't want to jump in with the most difficult piece of music you can find. You'd first need to learn about how to handle the instrument, how to play certain notes or chords or otherwise, and then build yourself up from there. For the last layout, we have a goal progress tracker, and the ideas I have here are mainly for goals that would be measured numerically. These essentially act like a bar graph and a line graph for the progress that you make. Although I do have numbers on this one at the top, these technically could also be used for a monthly based thing that you wanted to track. So instead of saying 1 to 12, you could have an initial for each month of the year. And then if you completed that habit or task within that month, you just colour the space beneath it to say that you had done it. The line graph is more for a goal that you want to track the progress of in a way that allows for comparison between each month. So being able to see where you started and where you ended up. This could be good for things like weight loss, social media followers, or how much of something you're able to do, for instance how many push-ups in a row you can do before you collapse, or how fast you're getting at running a mile, or possibly your average step count for each day in that month. Again, I'm just filling this one with some random ideas to show you how this spread would look once you'd filled it out. So as a final flip through, we have the 20 before 2020, the action plan and SMART goals reference, the goal timeline or year at a glance, and then a goal progress tracker. Hopefully this video gave you some ideas of layouts you could make related to your goals. I hope you're progressing well on them and haven't given up. We all went into 2019 with great intentions, and it certainly is still early enough in the year to make those things a reality. Thank you for watching. If you liked today's video, please do make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and wanted to, subscribe to my channel to see the videos I release every Thursday and Sunday. I'll be back again on Thursday with another Plan With Me video, so until next time, bye!